item number 83. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up item number 83 and let us begin some of the speakers. And at roughly 2 o'clock, we will go to our 2 o'clock time certain, but we might as well hear from speakers that have been here today.
Joel McNew, item 83, remote.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon. I am Joelle McNew. I'm the president of Safe Horns and a certified SEPTED practitioner in District 9. I'm speaking on item 83 because there's been zero communication from the city regarding the proposed Ike kiosk in West Campus, a neighborhood with unique safety needs and a high density of students. We have several questions. Location. Where will the kiosk be located in West Campus? Depending on location, it may impact accessibility, obstructing passageway, reducing pedestrian flow. Content control. Who will have the final authority to approve advertisers? Will there be strict regulations to ensure ads aren't predatory or inappropriate? Revenue sharing. Will the advertising dollars generated in West Campus be shared back directly for community-suggested safety and infrastructure improvements? As far as engagement and feedback from other cities, like Berkeley, they indicate that 5-year contract is too long for the return on investment, that the average engagement time is 11 per day with an average of 90 seconds per engagement. So they believe that the function is more like a bright billboard than an actual engagement tool. As far as safety, will the kiosk be integrated with emergency notification systems that specifically impact our area in real time? And finally, SEPTED. SEPTED, crime prevention through environmental design. Wayfinding is a core component of SEPTED. We formally request that SEPTED language specifically explaining the role of wayfinding and public safety be included in the city code to properly educate the community and support our efforts to standardize SEPTED in Austin to improve quality of life through intentional design.
Thank you very much.
Advocate for safety with intent.
Thank you. Monica Guzman. Monica, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hopefully I still have my 2 minutes. Good afternoon. I'm Monica Guzman, Policy Director at GAVA, Go Austin, Vamos Austin, speaking in opposition to item 83. The signage often includes Wi-Fi, and those systems can be used to track cell phones. Our cell phones, mine, yours, the community's. Signage at bus stops and bike kiosks can be used to track both riders and persons passing by. As stated in the Environmental Commission's recommendations to Council, we agree about the lack of public engagement where there should be more transparency. We agree with and support the Commission's recommendations, especially to ensure data on users or passersby is never ever collected and remove camera functionality of kiosks. Nonprofit consumer watchdogs post about digital screens violating privacy laws, and Northeastern Global News' advertisers are tracking your every move, even in places you thought were off limits. Those articles speak about our lives being tracked, from shopping interests to more personal private activities, including visits to medical, mental health, and women's health clinics, places of worship, and legal appointments. In the current political climate, we urge Council to postpone item 83 to allow sufficient time for authentic community engagement, centering residents who are transit dependent. Transit-dependent riders rely on public transit due to lack of access to private vehicles, i.e. bikes and cars, and the majority of transit-dependent riders are low-income persons of color. Thank you.
That is all the remote speakers I have, so I'm going to move to in-person. Kevin Cook, Rich Heyman, Gabriella Kane, Betsy Greenberg, Megan Meisenbach. Please come on down if your name's been called.
Please come down. Please begin.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Kevin Cook, and while I serve on the City of Austin Landmark Commission, I'm speaking solely in my personal capacity, not on behalf of any board, commission, organization, or entity. This city has tried to remove billboards for 50 years with a complete moratorium 43 years ago. Why are we weakening this now? Recently, the intent was stated as facilitating residential development and public transit projects. For residential, couldn't that property owner simply decide to end their relationship with the billboard completely? It's not a condemnation by a public entity. It's the same as a developer owning any property with an existing long-term tenant. Perhaps relocation makes negotiations easier for owners, but consider relocation will start the 25-year sunset clock on the remaining life of the billboard in the city policy for decades to ultimately remove all billboards. If we allow relocation, wouldn't that sunset be a condemnation by the city, leaving the city on the hook for the state-required reimbursement in 25 years? I would hate to see this being caught after the fact, leading to elimination of the 25-year sunset clock for which we now make the billboards finally go away. For transit, what cost savings are we looking at? Those routes are known. The cost is able to be at least estimated. We should know what this is worth. Is this not just creating a barrier somewhere else? Requirements in the draft are to be relocated to other transit corridors where we want them removed. And most important, is this facilitating relocation of any billboards being condemned by TxDOT for the I-35 expansion? Isn't TxDOT on the hook to pay for billboards removed by I-35 expansion? If we allow relocation, wouldn't the city then be on the hook to pay in 25 years? Where might these billboards go? Please increase the 150 feet to somewhere closer to the original 500 feet from residential or historic districts. I could not find a map of sign districts. Could the public first see a map of potential relocation signage districts, preferably showing where commercially zoned lots will remain that have 150-foot distance from adjacent residential to know where these might end up? In terms of equity, scenic roadways are protected from billboards. Consider West Cesar Chavez is protected. East Cesar Chavez is not. I-35, the SCAR itself, is not protected. East Austin I-35 could become a dumping grounds for billboards relocated from other parts of town. Please consider that.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Greenberg, why don't you go ahead?
My name is Betsy Greenberg, and I live in District 9. I'm opposed to item 83 and urge you to vote against any changes to the sign ordinance. Nobody likes billboards, and since 1982, Austin has not allowed new billboards, only allowing existing signs to remain as non-conforming uses. The current code has allowances for relocating signs due to right-of-way takings as long as they are moved to an appropriate location in a commercial or industrial district. Item 83 will make such relocations easier, allowing signs relocated from the interstate to be built on urban roads only 150 feet from residential uses. 10 years ago, changes were proposed to allow digital billboards. The City Council directed the manager to conduct public stakeholder meetings. The result was a decision to prohibit digital off-premise signs. This decision was successfully defended in a 2022 U.S. Supreme Court decision. Now, without public stakeholder meetings, someone has decided that large off-premise digital signs are a good idea. The selling point is Wi-Fi and wayfinding capabilities that are no different from smartphones. Kiosks are just digital billboards that display a sequence of advertisements with content that the sign ordinance will not be able to regulate. They take up space in the public right-of-way that should be reserved for pedestrians, micromobility, and street trees, not for constant advertising that will generate an undisclosed amount of revenue for Ike Smart and the city. Ike Smart City will say they don't use surveillance or artificial intelligence or collect data. Instead, they use a service such as Placer.ai that does that job for them, raising serious privacy and public safety concerns. Please consider the costs and risks of this ordinance and vote no on item 83. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Gabriela King Guardia, Executive Director of Latinitas, a nonprofit committed to digital equity. I am here in support of item 83 and continuing the conversation for the proposed ordinance changes that would allow interactive digital kiosks in the public right-of-way. We have witnessed the success of the Ike Smart City kiosk program in San Antonio, where they have strengthened public access to information and community engagement. That experience gives us confidence in what that means for the infrastructure here in Austin. This initiative enhances connectivity, access, and cultural engagement across Austin's diverse neighborhoods by providing a platform to showcase the creativity and achievements of our educational and cultural organizations. One of the most meaningful benefits is free public Wi-Fi. For many families we serve, reliable internet access and digital devices such as smartphones are not guaranteed. Digital equity is essential to education, workforce readiness, and civic participation. Latinitas looks forward to collaborating with the Ike Smart City team to maximize the impact of this initiative. This is more than signage, it is infrastructure that expands opportunity. I respectfully urge you to proceed with the hearings to amend the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. Thank you for being here and working for the citizens of Austin. I'm Megan Meisenbach, District 9, Judges Hill Neighborhood Association. And I would like to talk just briefly. I think Ms. Greenberg laid out all the important things to consider. I think these signs take 4 feet around them. And you have probably witnessed, as I have, people who go to a restaurant to be with their friends and they end up staring at the television. I think this is going to do that for drivers and perhaps other children and children who are near these signs. I don't think it's a good thing for Austin. If they go anywhere, I think it should be only downtown and certainly not at every bus stop. And I hope you'll rethink it and perhaps postpone it or stop it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Continuing on, Mary Sanger, Anita Shore, Benjamin Henry, Rosa Morales, Lee Ziegler.
If your name's been called, please come forward and take a seat. Welcome, Ms. Sanger.
Thank you. My name is Mary Sanger. I'm in District 9, and I'm a long-term resident of Austin. I'm asking you today to vote against the changes in our number 83 in the city code ordinance, and specifically against signing a contract for these digital kiosks, 50, I believe it's downtown. They are really no more than flashing advertisements, as shown by studies from other cities, that almost 80% of the material that is flashed out are advertisements. And it's really dubious to whether the city will receive any kind of real revenue from these. So I asked you to vote against them. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Why don't you go ahead and begin?
Benjamin Henry, Lamar Advertising. Briefly, I'd just like you to go ahead and support item number 83, specifically as it relates to the billboard relocations. It would be just a continuation of the existing structures in a different area. I think it's a pro-public transit move, and I think it would help reduce taxpayer dollars. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Maria Rosa Morales, and I've lived in District 9 for 2.5 years. My husband and I love our home and our neighborhood. So from our front steps right now, when I step out, I see a crane on the right side of our home, and that's due to the I-35 expansion. It is a temporary disruption that we can handle. By placing a permanent lit billboard at the other end of our home, on the other end of the street, we would be seeing a billboard 100% of the time, fully lit from our front yard when I step out or from our backyard. So completely ruining our sunset views, our views would be directly affected, and our property, from our property and nearby. I also speak on behalf of neighbors. This billboard would add constant visual clutter and take away from the character and livability of Cherrywood. That's not acceptable for our homes and our community. I urge the council to protect the quality of life, character, and beauty of my neighborhood and others by voting against this ordinance change. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Continuing on, Bill Bunch, Gibran Shemohammed, Michael Whalen, Robert Schmidt, Jen Reed, Jeffrey Bowen.
If your name's been called, please come forward.
And Jim Walker.
Mr. Whalen, are you waiving? Okay. Please, sir, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, honorable council members. My name is Bob Schmidt. I am a resident of Cherrywood Neighborhood Association, or Cherrywood, near I-35 in East Austin. And our neighborhood has been fighting a billboard that they have been trying to move in that would tower above our neighbor's backyard and tower over my street. If you can move for the next slide, please. For about the last 2 years. This ordinance change about billboards is wrong and should be defeated. Moving billboards closer to homes, apartments, and neighborhoods will cause serious problems. I understand that the main justification for this proposal is reducing city costs. But this is not accurate, and this reason doesn't hold up. Under the formula required by state law, the average cost to condemn a billboard should be about $215,000. But if a billboard is moved close to homes and neighborhoods, the loss of the property value to the homeowners directly there and to the people on the street is going to way exceed $215,000. Homes represent people's life savings, my life savings. And moving a billboard that reduces my value is not fair and not right. It also hurts the city's tax base. Also, the city would still be responsible for taking down and moving the billboard, which is certainly going to cost more money. So again, this is not done based on economics and saving the city money. Also, billboards under this new proposed ordinance can be moved anywhere in this around town as long as the property is 150 feet from a residence. This can happen anywhere in your districts, in your neighborhoods, and it will if this change is made. The second reason that's been offered is to allow changes for housing, and if that in fact is a real issue, study it and make a carefully tailored amendment that will allow housing to be built near billboards, but make sure it's on the same tract and that the housing is actually built, that it's not just an excuse to move it. I urge you to get citizen input on this and to study these issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Bowen?
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Jeffrey Bowen. I'm in District 8, and I'm here talking on this subject for myself. So, having watched the entire process in person and also on the city network, I found it very interesting that the conversation and how it went when it came to the digital boards that they're talking about, the kiosk ones. And it brought up a lot of different it brought up some information, and I started doing some research and also looking that we have an issue with the privacy issue, which, as many of you know, has been brought up recently within this own chambers regarding cameras in the parks, also license plate readers, those type of things. So the question popped in my mind going, how are we handling this towards a privacy issue? But I also noticed that during the briefing that the staff was providing to the Planning Commission, that there was a portion of it that said that the city was going to be getting a minimum of $2 million a year. Now, whether that's true or not, we'll have to see. But I started to thinking to myself, okay, is that part of the driver behind wanting to do this when we don't want cameras here for this purpose because of civil rights or whatever? We don't want this over here, but then this is okay? So I'm really kind of confused as going, what are the real priorities here? Is it really about money, or is it about making sure people have information? Is it about, making sure that visitors can go to these different places? There's too many unknowns in this, and the public has a right to understand. There has not been enough public information on this, and there's a vast amount of lack of transparency in this entire process. As for the big billboards, the existing rules need to stay as far as I see it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor, all speakers for this item have been called.
All right, thank you very much. Members, all the speakers on item number 83 have been called. What I would like to do, unless there's objection, is pause on item number 83 and go to our zoning matters, take up those zoning matters, and then at the conclusion of those, we will go into an executive session with regard to item number 83. Once that's concluded, we will come out and conclude item number 83 and then return to the executive session for the personnel matters. Without objection, that's what we'll do. So, Ms. Harden, I will call on you for our close the public hearing on item number 83. The public hearing is now closed, and the City Council will now go into a closed session to take up pursuant to Section 551071 of the Texas Government Code. The City Council will discuss legal issues related to item number 83, which is to conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance amending City Code Chapter 25-10 to authorize larger signs in the public right-of-way that includes electronic images, lights, and off-premise advertising, to change requirements that apply to existing non-conforming off-premise signs, aka billboards, including when if you're talking and you're not on the dais, you shouldn't be. And we hadn't voted on your item yet. AKA billboards, including when billboards can be relocated, where billboards can be relocated, and height requirements for relocated billboards, and waiving City Code Sections 25-1-501 and 25-1-502 related to initiating amendments, public hearing notice, and Planning Commission review, requirements for amendments to City Code Title 25, and it's on the agenda indicating funding. The item has no fiscal impact. Is there any objection to the council going into executive session on the item as I've announced it? Hearing none, the council will now go into executive session pursuant to 551071 of the Texas Government Code. It is 2:49 p.m. Folks, we will be returning after the executive session and complete item 83, at which point we will also then announce that we will be going into an executive session related to a personnel item, and that's the evaluation. It'll be several items related to evaluation of council appointees, but I'll announce that after we complete item number 83. Thank you. And we're all here. The chair will recognize the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to make a motion to postpone item 83. I would say indefinitely. I don't know if we're quite ready to kind of put a date on there to bring it back pending additional review.
The motion has been made by the Mayor Pro Tem and is seconded by Councilmember Duchin to postpone item 83 indefinitely. Is there discussion? Without objection, item number 83 is postponed indefinitely. All right, members and members of the public, the City Council will now go into a closed session to take up four items. Pursuant to Section 551074 of the Government Code, the City Council will discuss personnel matters related to item 63, which is related to the evaluation of the performance of and consider compensation of benefits for the city manager. Item 64, to evaluate the performance of and